You're watching TelecomTV's exclusive coverage of the ETSI NFV number 9 meeting in Prague here in the Czech Republic. And I'm joined now by Steve Wright, who is the ETSI NFV ISG chairman. Steve, good to meet you and thanks for joining us on TelecomTV yet again.
Sure. Welcome, glad to be here.
We're going to look at the progress of NFV and the work that ETSI is doing and where the industry is. And we have 4 Cs, in fact, 4 Cs to talk about. We're looking at collaboration, consolidation, continuity, and to an extent confusion, and hopefully we can address all those. If we start with collaboration, we have talked in the past a lot about vendor collaboration. The NFV ISG, as I understand it, was originally set up by service providers, to collaboration of service providers. Has that continued, and are we still seeing sufficient collaboration and openness between the service providers, and will that extend to hopefully sharing best practices with the community?
So standards in general are all about collaboration across the whole industry. So yes, I do expect that to continue to exist at the ISG. The number of operators has increased since we've started. The number of vendors and other participants has also increased. And we do see a variety of different forms of collaboration, both in terms of the actual spec development work as well as the POC activity and other events in the industry like the OpenNFV type activities as well. So not that peace and harmony has broken out everywhere, but I think people are coming to realize that collaboration in particular areas is in everybody's interest, and where they see that mutual benefit, then collaboration moves forward.
Your collaboration with other standards bodies and organisations, was this originally a necessity, or do you view this now as actually this is positive, this is something that the industry needs to embrace and has a very positive impact?
I think it is a positive solution to a difficult problem. One of the challenges of NFV is that it's not, well, NFV is lots of things to different people, but one way of looking at it is in terms of product or feature content on boxes or such things like this. But another way is to think of it in terms of a transformation in various ways, in transformation in the equipment, a transformation in the business models, the licensing arrangements. And as people come to grips with that also rattles, I think, into a necessity for transformation in other areas, in industry bodies and in collaboration arrangements, how not just how people use the technology internally, but how we work with other industry bodies to build a successful ecosystem. So that's why we're doing the sort of collaboration like the workshop we had this week, to try and reach out to other groups that we've already had interaction with and try and find out, okay, how do we take this to the next level? What makes sense to make this a viable environment?
We're starting to see in some parts of the world, especially in Europe and some Mediterranean countries, some consolidation going on within the service provider community. If this is the start of a trend, do you see this as perhaps speeding up the requirement for virtualization, or the reverse? It might actually slow down as domestic competition becomes less intense.
It's hard to predict on consolidation trends. That tends to be driven by individual commercial factors, and so that's perhaps out of my scope. But where some of the operators are seeing, I think, common commercial pressures, then that does tend to provide a willingness or a motivation to consider alternative approaches that provide a change in a business model or a paradigm that may improve your cost position or your service offerings. So this is a potential opportunity for us as a technology, but it's also a challenge in the environment as to how quickly that can be adopted.
And what about continuity for service providers? Can service providers actually roll out virtualized network functions on their existing legacy equipment, or is it just going to come down to a requirement to spend more CapEx and OpEx?
So that's going to vary for each individual operator and their particular circumstances and priorities, right? So every operator is going to be in a different position. So for some operators, it may be a focus on sort of the cost containment issues. For others, it may be that the service velocity, the ability to develop and deploy new features is the primary motivating factor, and so that's going to impact their strategies here. So
finally, as we come to the end of the 9th NFV meeting here in Prague, are you still optimistic that we're all on track, things are on course, or are there some challenges that still need to be addressed?
Oh, we have no shortage of topics to work on, and plenty of discussions happening in the rooms at the meeting here. So there is, with more than, I think, 30 work items now, we have plenty of things on our plate. The challenge we have is to progress through them and start to get those specifications out there and encourage the ecosystem in terms of the deployments and interoperability activities. So that's our challenge of trying to make this stuff happen.
Great. Well, best of luck with that. Steve, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.